for the grand finale on day 3 of our Women in Payments Symposium ASEAN. Welcome to the Unicorn Challenge. This is our very first one that we've held in ASEAN, and I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite things, and this is all about giving women fintech leaders an opportunity to get up on the stage, to do a pitch, to build some confidence in front of a friendly and informed audience, and to get some feedback on their solutions. Just to give you a little bit of history on this, we launched this in Canada 4 years ago. We've been running it for 4 years in Canada, for 2 or 3 years now in the UK. We've done it a couple times in Australia, and we're now launching this in ASEAN. I am so excited. We have some fabulous women who are going to pitch some really interesting fintech solutions for you today. But before we get to them, we are going to show you a video that allows some of our past winners to answer some questions for us. So I'm going to queue up to get my colleague Sarah to play that for you, and I'll be right back when it finishes. Thanks, Sarah.
So when I think about what inspired me to become a fintech entrepreneur, I think we want to go back to, what inspired me to be an entrepreneur. And I'm an example of an accidental entrepreneur. And I was working as an engineer way back in 1999. And I started working from a merchant's perspective, processing credit cards solved. So from that perspective, my inspiration, if you will, was rage, anger at how things worked, and completely ignorant and uninformed belief in self that could offer something to improve the state of the art. So that was what originally inspired me in my first company. That was a really long journey. And then what you realize once you're in financial services and once you're in payments is it really, really is an extremely interesting industry and subset of an industry. So when I sold my first company and then had a year off and thought about what I really wanted to do next, the pull of payments was inexorable. And so the second time, I'm facing it more as an industry participant who is enamored with the industry. There's still lots and lots of problems to solve, but lots of opportunities as well.
And about 4 or 5 years ago, my husband had his credit card used fraudulently online. He had to cancel the card. We had to wait for 2 weeks for the card to come through the post, and then had to plug in all of that data across, over 100 online locations. And it was really at that point, penny dropped, and we realized, oh my God, none of us actually own any of our personal or our payment information. And we realized this is something that needs to be addressed, and it's a real problem. And because Alistair had also come from a product background, on the technical and strategy side, we both did very different things, and we found the challenge really. So yeah, that's what we've taken on. We absolutely believe people should own their own personal data, and that privacy is a fundamental human right, and the way that it's stored today is completely broken. So we've got our mission, and really that's what inspired the creation of Nuggets, and what inspires us to, run the business, essentially.
It's actually problems that are faced. So the first product I created in fintech was born out of out of a need. My daughter was about 13 and she was constantly chasing me around the house, asking me to pay for something. And then I thought, well, why can't she send me the basket and I kind of process it and pay for it in my own time? So that kind of was the light bulb moment, and that need. And I kept looking, I kept researching, and I couldn't find the product. So I went and created Vilu, which is the fintech product that I won Women in Payment, Unicorn Challenge with.
So the biggest obstacles that I faced and how I've overcome them, I think the number one is around funding.
The biggest obstacle that I ever faced, certainly as a first-time entrepreneur, was financing.
Some of the ones that you hear over and over again, of course, is raising money, and that's an obstacle for every entrepreneur, and particularly female entrepreneurs.
Female founders, I think, receive only just over 2% of VC capital. And obviously that's a huge issue, right? Because we all need capital to realise our products, commercialise these, and then take those to market. And I think really there is just don't underestimate the amount of effort that it takes and not taking no for an answer. I think when you know that there's still a way to go around the balance of female funding versus male funding, is understanding that then it becomes a numbers game. You need to eventually meet the VCs or the investors that will back you and your business. So I think one of the ways that I've overcome that is by speaking more, becoming more visible. Also, I think don't underestimate the power of a really great supportive network. I think that's one of the things I had no idea, you know, going into this journey 4 or 5 years ago, how powerful that network can be. And that's not just with, you know, making yourself more visible, but really, you know, someone that you can pick up the phone to and talk about these things, and also has got your back and that can lift you on those days that you really need it.
So pitching in the Unicorn Challenge for FiSpan, which is ready to pitch, was super fun. And the biggest benefit for FiSpan from that particular pitch fest was actually internal. By coming home as a very young company with a trophy that we proudly displayed in our entranceway, it made a big difference to the 5 folks that are, you know, in this little high-risk startup, and also people coming into the office.
Pitching at the Unicorn Challenge is incredibly beneficial. You not only get the opportunity to present your startup, you know, to a number of successful women across, you know, some of the biggest corporates globally. So you get to share your product, but you also get some really invaluable feedback. And I think that's something that, you know, I can't stress enough. It's almost like just that alone, without even winning the Unicorn Challenge, is just a phenomenal feedback, essentially, that loop into, because a lot of the people that you're presenting to are normally those that you'd be presenting to in a commercial capacity as well, that procure services like our startups provide. So I think that's number one. And then if you do go on to win the Unicorn Challenge, I mean, I can just say from my perspective, it's been incredibly invaluable. The number of doors it's opened, whether you're talking to, you know, some of the top banks and financial institutions, but also at the speed at which it's grown my network as a result of having, you know, those meetings. So no, it's incredibly invaluable.
Most of all, I think the connections that you make through Women in Payments. So I was introduced to brilliant contacts in the fintech industry. Some people I'm still in touch with, and I'm constantly talking to people like in Mastercard, for example. They're absolutely brilliant. Kirsty introduced me to them, and I always pick up the phone, pick their brains on something. We talk, and I think that was really useful. Of course, there's also people start hearing about you, mentioning you in their blogs, mentioning you in articles. So we got some good PR out of it as well, which was great.
So the advice that I would offer to anyone considering setting up their own startup is that as long as you're solving a real world problem, do it. It's clearly not an easy option. You know, being a founder is tough, but it's so incredibly rewarding. And there's never really been a better time to set up a business, especially within fintech, than right now, given the regulatory landscape, the fact that there are now female founded VCs that you can also pitch your product to. But I once read this quote that said, if you're prepared to be the worst paid, work the longest hours, and have the most stress, you're ready to be a founder. But I would say to all of that, it's also so incredibly rewarding.
Fintech has been traditionally male dominated, but it's getting better now. So don't ever let that intimidate you or set you back, because there are some incredible women in fintech founders that are, they've raised money, they created unicorns out there. So as intimidating as it sounds, you should still go for it and do it.
My first bit of advice is to ensure that you or your team has enough domain knowledge to not go in completely blind, and have enough domain knowledge so that you have found a niche or an opportunity that actually is worthy of starting a new fintech business. The second bit of advice I would give to someone considering entrepreneurship in fintech, specifically a woman, is that there's actually never been a better time to actually dive in and go for it. And the reason is banks are very much more open to partnering with fintechs. Venture capital is really flowing into the sector in a way like it's never been before. Doesn't mean that it's hard, doesn't mean that 9 startups out of 10 are going to fail. But there is opportunity and there is momentum around supporting young technology companies, and specifically those founded by women and visible minorities.
Hopefully everybody was inspired by that video. I have to say, I always love watching it and hearing their insights, and not surprising perhaps that the biggest challenge they all faced was funding or financing. But one of those unicorn challenge winners, her first fintech was Hyperwallet, and Lisa Shields now runs FiSpan, is building that one out. But her first one she sold to PayPal a few years ago for $400 million. So I call her a half unicorn, but she's very inspiring. So perhaps today we will see some people competing on the stage today who will become unicorns or half unicorns down the road, and that we can all say that they got their big start here today at Women in Payments. With that, I am going to introduce Lili Ling. She runs the Start Path program there within product development and knows a lot about innovation in payments. And she's going to be moderating our Unicorn Challenge today. Welcome, Lili.
Thank you. So everyone, good day to you. Welcome to this Unicorn Challenge. Christy, thank you so much for having me here as the moderator. Now, it is really great to continue the event to live and inspire despite the current situation, which does impact many women in many different ways. So as introduced, my name is Lili. I lead my global startup program in Asia Pacific. Now, the startup program is actually a startup engagement program within Mastercard, where we help from great startups to co-create the futures of commerce with Mastercard and our customers. Mastercard because basically I get to speak with determined founders and finding more evolutionary solutions on a daily basis. So the sheer determinations and the knowledge inspired me and humbled me on a daily basis too. I'm honored to be for the first Unicorn Challenge in ASEAN, because the objective of the challenge are really to provide female-founded startups the opportunity to present their solutions in front of a large audience of industrial stakeholders who can be potential customers. Demonstrate the value of collaborations and cooperations in partnerships between startups and marketing. Lastly, but it's also to provide a platform for women in fintech to present, showcase, and build their industry profiles in this challenge too. So why is it important? I think over the videos here that female-founded companies only receive 2% of the VC dollars so far. In fact, in today's term, I think that 38% of the startups across the globe with female founders. So from a 38% comparatively to a 2% VC dollar, it's a huge, a huge gap that we need to actually build upon. So, and also what we also know is that founders, they raise only about one third less than the male-only companies. this is a great platform for us to ensure that all female techs do get the opportunity to get their exposure here. And hence the prize is very much catering to providing the inclusion, which is there are two prizes here today. One is actually the Judges' Choice Award. Now the winning team will get a 60 audience with key executives at leading financial institutions, tailored to the purpose of providing objective feedback of the winners. There is also another Audience Choice Award, which will involve the audience today, who will vote by a live voting app. So that's on the right panel. So later we'll announce when is the voting. Now, we would also like to take this opportunity to definitely thank the prize donors for the Unicorn Challenge. Standard Chartered, JP Morgan, Visa, UOB, Mastercard, DBS, Citibank, and PayPal. Now it is time to know a bit more of our esteemed judges who have carved out time from their busy schedule to hear from the competitors. I'd like to invite the judges to introduce themselves and also to provide a tip or trick for the competitors on stage. So for the judge, can I have Sue Dean, the Managing Director, Head of Commercial Bank International Asia, for. Hey, Sue.
Hi there, thanks Lee, and good morning everyone. It's a real pleasure to be part of this session. I have to say, I think Kirsten mentioned it right at the beginning, the commingling between banks and fintechs in particular has never been more prevalent than it is today. So I'm Sue Dean, I've been with JP Morgan 32 years. I've currently and just recently moved across to the APAC region, Head of Commercial Banking International for the region. Prior to moving out to Singapore, I have worked in both the security side of the business and payments, and across a number of disciplines, so operations, service, product, and sales. What I'm really looking forward to hearing is actually not only about the solution itself, but some insight in terms of how the users are actually finding the applications and the ease of using it, specifically as change continues to evolve very, very rapidly in this current environment. So certainly looking forward to the presentations. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you. Now, next we have Lynn from SC Ventures Standard Chartered.
Hi everyone. My name is Fern. I work for SC Ventures. Within SC Ventures, what I do is I lead venture sourcing. So what this means is I'm constantly on the hunt for new business models. So amongst that, I actually evaluate a lot of fintechs. I'm quite well plugged into the female fintech space. So I'm really excited to see the two teams here present at the Unicorn Challenge. In terms of tips or things that I'm looking out for, I would really like to see what is your unique advantage or your differentiating point, given that there are plenty of players in the payment space. Looking forward to see what's that aha bit of the teams here today.
Thank you, Fern. We have Emma Tui from Long Hash Venture, CEO of Long Hash Ventures.
Sure thing. Thanks, Lily. Thanks, Christy and the team for setting up such a fabulous platform to allow female founders to tap into the network and fundraising opportunities. And thanks for having me here. So I'm Emma. I'm the founder and CEO of Long Hash Ventures. So we're a blockchain-focused accelerator and investor. And a lot of the applications that we fund and helped are in the financial service area, and most particularly in payments area. I'm also leading the subcom of the Women in Fintech committee of the Singapore Fintech Association. So definitely look forward to use this this platform to connect with more females in fintech. And with regards to what I'm looking for, I guess similar to Fern, evaluating startups is part and parcel of what I do every day. So I'm really looking to hear what is the secret sauce that really differentiates you from other players that's in this crowded payments space. Thank you.
Fantastic. And last but not least, we have from the founder of W Hub. Karen, please, over to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. This is really exciting. So I'm the founder of W Hub, which is the biggest startup ecosystem here in Hong Kong and Power Connector in Asia. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of Angel Hub, which is a startup investment platform. So we select and we also invest through our own fund into the most promising startups that we can find. So I'm really excited actually to see more like fintech companies led by women. What I'm looking for is really to see, you know, what is your, actually, as everybody say, right, what is your USP, how are you different, and what is your big plan actually for the future. So looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, judges, for the introductions and also for the great advice on how to win the challenge. Next, I would like to introduce the competitors. First, we have Kathleen Acosta, the COO, Chief Operations Officer from JazziePay. Now, based in Philippines, JazziePay helps small, medium businesses with payment acceptance by providing access to an efficient digital payment, having to worry about setup fees, subscription fees, or any Their vision is to provide world-class invoicing solutions and other developing countries across Southeast Asia and beyond. And of course, next we have Flora Su, the CEO of Naras Knowledge. Naras Knowledge is actually a startup born and bred in Singapore, specializing in structuring legal information. Now they have a solution known as Martini, which turns investments agreements into actionable business intelligence. It helps investment industries streamline investment processes and save legal costs. So Flora actually practiced as an M&A lawyer for almost a decade. Oh, despite the age, I think you look very young. But hence, she's the most qualified to have investments agreement over Martini, or maybe it's more of a solution for Martini. So, next, I would like to share the format. Each competitor has 5 minutes to present their pitch, and this will be followed by minutes of questions from any of the judges. Now, the judges will then score them on 5 different criteria. First, fitness and creativity. Next, business model and potential success. Thirdly, impact to market and users. Fourth, you have the practicality and the interoperability. And fifth is the diversity of the startup team. So now is what everyone is actually waiting for, the presentation. Welcome Kathleen Acosta from JazziePay back on stage to present her solution. Over to you, Kathleen.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Acosta and I'm the COO and co-founder of JazziePay. Our vision is to revolutionize the way essential businesses accept payments in developing countries like the Philippines. Our motivation to create JazziePay started when one of our family members who is about to have their first childbirth got delayed. The doctors didn't perform the medical operation until the hospital received the initial cash deposit. We were deprived of the essential healthcare service simply because our money was coming from abroad and the hospital wasn't equipped to accept payments online. In today's day and age, when it seems that every company is accepting cashless payments, essential businesses like hospitals, clinics, and schools are the ones at the bottom of the pyramid. It could have saved us a lot of time if the hospital accepts online payments via credit card, debit card, online banking, or even e-wallets. What is surprising to know is that despite a handful of providers available today, the process of truly adapting digital payments is difficult. Existing payment gateways require setup fees and technical integration, while banks require a significant amount of security cash deposits and monthly transaction quota. The entire process is unpleasant, expensive, and confusing, making traditional businesses forgo digital payments over cash. And hospitals, clinics, and schools are not an exception to this. Now think of JazziePay as a unified web and mobile app that brings together 27 payment options for your customers, including credit cards, online bankings, digital wallets, and even over-the-counter cash deposits for unbanked customers. You can have your customers scan your QR code or search your company name in the JazziePay app and pay from anywhere in the world. It even allows you to send invoices to your customers. and companies can monitor their transactions through their business dashboard and receive real-time notification via text and email. We remove the pain in putting up security deposits, application fees, API integrations, and dealing with different providers just to enable online payments. As a business owner, you simply want a unified payment system that gets the job done. Initially, we are targeting a $20 billion market across hospitals, clinics, schools, and medical suppliers in the Philippines, and we plan to bring the solution to other businesses in the future. When it comes to our business model, we charge 4% plus 30 cents for every successful payment. Our margin varies between 1% to 3% per transaction, depending on the type of payment made by the customer. Since our launch, we're already processing $45,000 worth of payments monthly and plan to achieve about $3 million worth of transactions monthly to attain $100,000 in gross revenue. We have 500 plus businesses in the dental, healthcare, and education industries across the Philippines who are now registered to JazzyPay for 3 years. We're also serving other businesses like real estate, medical suppliers, restaurants, travel agencies, auto shops, and more. 60% of these companies were mainly referred to us by our happy customers. We are trusted by investors like Techstars, Rakuten, and Cocoon, and we know more than anyone how much we can further improve the financial technology for local and essential businesses and help Filipinos with our product. Not only that Josh and I are extremely motivated and driven, given our background as ex-entrepreneurs, our strong connections to the healthcare sectors, we believe that we can take JazzyPay to the next level. We are supported by an experienced team that we built during the strictest lockdown period in the Philippines, with Jen leading the overall development of our product, Rain and Miguel spearheading useful features for our customers, and with Jocelyn and Leia making sure that all marketing contents and collaterals are in superb quality and clear messaging. In the last 6 months, we have accomplished many things. That includes our recently announced $500,000 seed funding from Cocoon and the key people we hired to help us further develop our product and sign up more customers. We have also secured our payment system license from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, successfully launched JazzyPay version 2, and obtained PCI DSS Level 1 certification. Our plan for the next 2 months consists of 4 main things. Expand our team, increase our GTV to attain $100,000 monthly revenue, and sign up more merchants and further develop our product. In the long run, we plan to bring the solution to other developing countries across Southeast Asia. The opportunity in front of us is clear, and we all have witnessed the rapid shift going digital from the government, healthcare, education, to traditional brick and mortar businesses. Now more than ever is the perfect time for businesses of all sizes to adopt digital payments and investors to seize the opportunity. Thank you.
On time. Fantastic. Great presentation from you. Really appreciate that. Now it is actually the questions from the judges. Can I just invite you to show your video and at the same time to ask questions to Kathleen?
Hi.
Hi, it's Emma here. I have a question. Thanks for the great presentation. I thought it was very, very clear. Good job on that. Just a quick question. What do you think is the unique differentiator here? Is it the technological solution that's more advanced compared to other payment gateways? Or is it the specific user segment that you guys are targeting, which is the hospitals, schools, and clinics, which I suppose they are slower to digital adoption compared to many other segments?
We are different in both ways. So we target the healthcare and educational sectors here in the Philippines, which no one is targeting. And then we simplify the payments. And aside from that, other payment facilities only offers API. So they don't offer the app-based solution. So what we do is we have this app that they can sign up on our app. There's no integration needed for them to accept online payments as well. And we have 27 payment options.
Got it. So, thank you.
So, Kathleen, you mentioned that you've got further development. So, I mean, this is a very competitive space. Can you just share with us some of your thoughts about further development, how you're going to be enriching your offering?
Actually, we are developing other solutions within the system. So we're actually doing right now to target more merchants is referral programs. Since here in the Philippines, we have a lot of sales representatives, and we tend to use them since both my parents are dentists. So they're both doctors. So we have a lot of connections in the healthcare sectors. So we're using our networks in that. And actually, some of my uncles are doctors as well in the hospital. So.
Hi, Kathleen, this is Fen. So I think I recall seeing on one slide, right, you're talking in terms of growth from 55K to 2.5 million. That is a very ambitious 40 to 50x multiple, in terms of scale. Would you be able to share, for us in terms of your step-by-step plan or how you intend to achieve that?
For now, we're targeting the healthcare education, and because the system for them is they have a lot of what you call it. They have a lot of receivables for that as well. So we are targeting that, since actually the receivables for hospitals is more than the amount that we've said. So we're developing products within our system as a payment platform that that allows them to accept or call and process the people who have payments that they needed to do, and streamline payments for traditional businesses.
Just to add on, I think you mentioned about the app, right? In addition to payments gateway, are there any features or services that you're thinking of offering?
Actually, we are developing also calendars for our hospitals and clinics, since a lot of them are paying additional for that, for them to do the calendars, because as we know, the hospitals and clinics right now during the pandemic cannot just accept walk-in patients. And we do send payment requests for them to ask their patients for their upcoming payments, and we remind them via text and email, so automatically within the system.
Got it. Thank you.
Maybe just one last question from me. What is your so healthcare industry? Is notoriously difficult to penetrate, right?
Yes.
Because there are different systems, across the hospitals and the clinics. If you could just share a bit of a sense of what's the customer acquisition cost, because I have a sense that it is quite difficult to penetrate. So I appreciate that you've got connections, but do you have a sense of what's the customer acquisition cost per clinic, per hospital?
For now, our acquisition cost is $20 to $100 per hospital, because ever since we started, we actually, both Josh and I, my co-founder, are the ones who went outside and do clinic to clinics and hospital to hospital just to present our product, because since we are in the payment facility, it's very hard for us to convince them that we are a legitimate business. And when we were starting, we were just only using other payment gateways, so it's kind of hard for that. But now we are doing the $20 to $100 to acquire our new merchants, and we incentivize our existing merchants for them to refer us to other businesses as well. So referral programs is very good for us, because word of mouth that they are using JazzyPay, that they are happy with our service, is very, very good for our business.
Thank you very much. I'm Flora. We are representing Narrows. 90% of the world's assets are privately owned. And the private capital market increased 7 times in the last 2 decades, twice as fast as the public market. And technology has already transformed how we invest in the public market. Two Sigma, Resonance technology are some leading examples. But in the private market, the process of finding alpha didn't really change that much. It involved a bit of pitching in front of the investors, some due diligence, and signing hundreds of pages of legal documents afterwards. And as all the past contestants also share their own frustration in fundraising as a woman founder, we all share their pain. It needs an upgrade. And the question is how? Especially when all the rights and obligations about their fundraise are contained in this complex legal documents. write cap tables, exit options, and I wouldn't bore you with the lawyer fee that they devise on these terms after they drafted these complicated terms themselves, and the time spent on the auditors for the VC funds to audit at the end of the year, or the paperwork and the pain. You probably asked one of these questions before. Does our MAC clause cover the pandemic? Can we force the company to sell if the economy goes worse? Then you went through a number of things searching for the answer. Looking at the folders, maybe the document in the email, maybe I answer one of those and go on some Googling and searching or calling up your colleagues. Now, 45 minutes later, you're probably still looking at the same screen. I'm Flora. I was a Linklaters M&A lawyer drafting precedents for the team. So I was a human solution to this problem, but I keep on asking myself, how can we do things differently? We created Martini. By harnessing the power of machine learning, you can deploy a super lawyer to organize your deal Bibles so that you get the answers in seconds. And we've gone through thousands and thousands of M&A agreements, perfecting different models, extraction models, and redaction models, and so on and so forth to facilitate that process. And it now covers more than 60 different jurisdictions. So here's a demo about the Martini application. You can upload the investment agreement, then the super lawyer with the lawyer plus AI will structure the deal terms and get them ready for you to review. And all your terms will be available in one single dashboard where you can go in to look at exactly what investment you've made, what different terms and deal terms that you've agreed before. For example, put option here, you know exactly on which transaction you've agreed to a put option, and can even go into the nitty-gritty details if you'd like to. And of course, you can filter by shareholding, can filter by investment amount, and so on and so forth. So everything will be at your fingertips. Organizing Transaction Bible is just the beginning, because the ground truth of the entire private capital market resides in there. So we first organized deal Bibles for investment funds, private equity funds, venture capitals. We then provide market intelligence based on anonymized data so that you know the market practice. And we use this data to build a future where everyone negotiates on an intelligent platform, be informed about the market positions and your past investment patterns in real time. At the end of the day, we should be negotiating the terms and not redline documents, because in case of any dispute, the court will also ask what's the commercial intention of the parties, not exactly how you bloodline the document. It's a large and fragmented market. It's a $10 billion market in M&A alone, and not a single law firm currently advises on even 1% of the global M&A deals. And just looking at Southeast Asia today, fundraising in the region doubled this year despite the pandemic. And we are actually collaborating with Singapore VIMA and Law Society to update the investment agreement templates for the region and doing our part to shape the future of venture investment in Southeast Asia. Let me introduce you to the team. I'm Flora, the CEO. I was an M&A lawyer at Linklaters. Tom, our PhD researcher, chief scientist. He's a physicist by background from the University of Munich and with more than a decade of research experience. Jihan, our engineering lead, she's an award-winning programmer, joined us from Goldman Sachs. We came together 2 years ago, and our technology is already proven in the criminal law sector, now have a software serving more than 300 civil servants in Singapore. Currently structuring very complex legal information 24/7. So we're building Martini and the data-driven future of M&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Flora. Thank you so much. Now, judges, questions, please.
Yeah, very insightful presentation. Are you already generating revenue right now, and who would be your biggest competitor?
Yeah, so we're currently signing up pilot arrangements. So there are revenues, but relatively small. We have other revenues in the previous criminal law jurisdiction with the government agency where we are earning 6-digit revenue. And our biggest competitors, one in the US is called Omni Fund. They serve investment funds by looking at their underlying legal documentation to help with audit and legal needs. And the other competitor would be in the UK, it's called seed legals, where they help fundraising needs of angel investors or early stage investors. So it's kind of touching upon both investment funds and angel investment, where we think our sweet spot in the range of competition, where we are in a relatively niche angle, would be we have the legal technical expertise within the team to appreciate very complex legal documentation, where even late stage private equity funds we're looking at, and how we can turn them step into structured data. And also, we're not just a technology provider. We go in and understand all your legal process, all the pain points that you're currently suffering. We can build even the legal taxonomy for you, which then we push through data science models. Of course, we also have the benefit of being a founder ourselves. So we connect very well with the founder who share kind of their own fundraising pain. So hence us being part of the VMA initiative, helping the Series A standardization of the templates in the region, we hope to have a technology solution to turn that kind of paper work heavy process into a digital process.
How do you find the appetite towards change is the first part, but the second part is there's a lot of discussion about blockchain and sort of golden source and using that technology as sort of the infrastructure. Just your thoughts in terms of the applicability of blockchain, and are you bringing it in, or do you need to bring it in for your solution to be optimal and to be sort of broadly applied as it gains hopefully momentum?
Yeah, so two parts to the question, the appetite for change. For the private equity funds, the large funds, yes, you're absolutely right, very traditional, everyone very concerned, and it's very relationship-based sector. So what we started off, of course, is also based on a connection. I've been private equity lawyer for a while. Most of my colleagues will be in the private equity sector. This is how we gain pilot customer and gain trust with the pilot customers. And the other thing that to tease the appetite a little bit is we don't want them to change too dramatically from their current practice. No one really want to kind of totally deviate from what they have been currently doing. Most of them actually already have like an Excel summary exercise of the deal terms, especially for large funds. Then we simply say, look, we're going to move this to a digital platform, and then powered by data science models, data entry will be a lot easier and a lot faster. And the insight that you can gain in seconds, the moment that those information being submitted. So to kind of build that into the current process as much as possible. The second part of the question, blockchain, yes, that is a very good point. We internally discussed it. I think there is definitely a potential, especially in those payment transactions in the M&A, where eventually you need to verify and produce evidence, maybe also from an auditor's perspective of those funds being properly transferred. We think there's a potential. We are not currently integrating, but definitely would be interested to explore how we can integrate that.
Thanks, Flora.
Thank you.
You have a question earlier?
Yeah, thanks, Flora. I quite like this because I think the legal tech industry is just picking up. So I think it's a great space. I've got two questions. What is your business model like? How do you intend to price the solution? And which countries do you within your pilot market, and how do you intend to scale from here?
So first business model, we actually have currently pricing for two different products. One for the private equity transaction, private equity funds, the large funds, we price on a per transaction basis that we structure at the end of the deal, a lump sum fee per transaction. Of course, we need to bank on the certainty when it comes to certain volume of deals that these large funds will do. While for the VC sector, where we are targeting early stage deals, where we through collaboration with associations, then we're considering a freemium model, i.e. for founders who just generate term sheet every now and then, they should obtain this for free, and we have a lot of resources helping them to do that. Of course, for VC funds where they generate term sheet at a certain volume, then we will charge after 5 term sheets, then there will be a lump sum fee. We are in discussion with early adopters where we could charge an additional fee where it's not just generation of term sheet, we could potentially map to the full transaction documentation if there's not much negotiation when it comes to term sheets, and we can work on their templates and then charge on a per transaction basis. Actually, our fee will be at least 50% cheaper than what the startups actually paying with their funding to pay those lawyers. What we really want is all the fundings goes to grow the business as opposed to the processes and the transactions in between and backing the business that both investor and founders believe in. So second part of the question are the pilot markets and how we intend to scale. For the PE funds, we are collaborating with international funds, but right now for the pilot, we're actually working with their EMEA transactions. Also because my background, I was actually based in London for a long time before I moved to Singapore. So we focus on EMEA transactions, but a lot of the kind of UK jurisdiction legal terms are very similar to the Singapore terms. And we're in discussion with one where we look at more Asia terms in general. And then on the VC side, where we are focusing on will be Singapore as the hub for Southeast Asia. This is where a lot of VC funding will be here, funding different startups in the region, in Vietnam, in Philippines, and so on and so forth. This is where we could help to scale Singapore, both of the governing law and the template initiative that we're working on, and be able to understand the deal terms across the region. So this is our current target market. In order to scale, of course, we will require the network effect. We built in different features in our current software serving the private equity funds so that they can share information easily with their lawyers. We see the lawyers as part of a collaboration platform. So via that organic growth, then we can scale to one fund can bring in 20, 30 different law firms that they often use. And VC sector, we're currently working on the Singapore templates. We have been working on the US and VCA template and PVCA template for a while. But yeah, that's the other way that we're going to scale.
Okay. Actually, because time is up. So thank you so much for taking the questions and being very about it. Now is actually more for the judges to kind of across and share it across to time. There's also audience to vote, and of course Flora to do pitch presentation for Nara's knowledge. And with that, I'm going to invite judges to come back in again to provide a bit of a feedback to the competitors. I will just invite, since Emma is actually on, I'll just have Emma to kind of provide a minute of a feedback. Feedback to the competitors in terms of how you feel about the pitch presentation, any more, constructive things. What are some of the aha moments that you have actually gotten from each of the competitors?
For sure. I thought both pitch were very well delivered. It was very clear structure in terms of the problem, the solution, how you're different, what is the addressable market, and what is the traction. So I thought all those things were presented in a very, very coherent way. I think maybe specifically for Nara's knowledge, I actually have some questions around, how do we calculate the addressable market, right? Given it's a super niche market, maybe I think you mentioned something around the 10 billion market. If in the future you can kind of break down a bit into how. Right? Maybe it's some sort of simple visual illustration. I think that would really help to answer that question. I really think it was very well delivered.
Yeah, I had the same sentiment too, because I, like you, to a lot of the startup pitches, and I think this is the most well prepared pitches that I've actually listened to. So well done. So with this, I'm going to thank you, Emma. Thank you so much for the feedback.
We have two. Do you want to go through this, Lily? I'm going to be quiet and let you have the honors of why don't you announce the judge's choice, and then I'll announce the audience choice. Does that work?
Yes. So the judges picked the winner to be JazzyPay. So Kathleen Acosta, just show your video. Congratulations to you. You have won the judge's choice. Congratulations to you, and well done again for the pitch presentation. It was really good. Please tell us a bit of your feeling right now.
Okay. Actually, the comment with Miss Emma, I removed the ask in our pitch because I don't think it's gonna be part of it. So sad to say I removed it, but it's there.
Can we get the judges to turn on their cameras and just congratulate Kathleen?
Awesome.
Congratulations, Kathleen. Great energy, very clear pitch. Excited to see you, raise subsequent fundings and may you be the next unicorn.
Yep, looking forward.
So exciting. So exciting. Now, I don't know if everybody can see on the screen. Oops, sorry. But we have our audience choice. I think we've got our votes from the audience, and it looks like we actually have JazzyPay as the audience choice award also. So congratulations to Kathleen for winning the audience choice award as well. That's fantastic.
I have to congratulate. Yeah, exactly. But Flora, I would also like to congratulate you also, because by being one of the be able to have it is a good opportunity, and I look forward to hearing more about your solutions in the near future.
I think Flora and Kathleen both did outstanding jobs with their pitches. They were very clear and very well laid out. You came in on time. You went through the essence of your solutions. I mean, it's hard to do in 5 minutes. But it was great for the audience, and it was, the judges clearly got some good insights to your solutions. And I will follow up in the next couple of days to introduce you to the market incumbents who will invite you in to present your pitches to them as well. So just to reiterate.
Once again, I would like to thank the judges and of course the audience for your time. Take this opportunity to also do today. I think it's the first time for all of us to be doing a bit more of a digital format in terms of pitch presentation. Once again, I shall hand this time over to you, Christy.
Thanks so much, Lily. This will be the end of our second ASEAN conference for women in payments. I hope everybody agrees with me that this was a fabulous event, and I'm so looking forward to next year. But for now, it's been an absolutely virtual experience, if you will. And we've had some fantastic speakers over the last 3 days. And one of the things that I always find is it's such a great opportunity to connect people through the networking opportunities, through people that you can connect with on LinkedIn that you might have heard speak, to be inspired by people like Lisa Robbins, like Christine Siriani, who opened for us on Tuesday, and to really help us to build careers like champions. It's fantastic that we've had so many women leaders, innovators, and rising stars from across ASEAN speaking at this event for the last 3 days. Before I sign off, I'd like to share a few pieces of career advice that have been shared with me by some of the most inspiring women in this industry that I've met in the last few years. I've asked them what advice they might share with their younger selves, and here are some of my favorites. Do what you love. You've got just one life to live and one career to build, so jump in, embrace it, enjoy the challenge, the learning, the excitement. Payments is a really fantastic and exciting place to be right now, so jump in and have fun with it. Second is dream big. And I love this. If it's not you, then who would it be? And if it's not now, then when? So get in there, fulfill your dreams, because if you don't pursue them, as we've seen with our unicorn challengers today, Kathleen and Flora, then you may just end up wondering all your life if you could have, should have, might have. Another one that Lisa Robbins mentioned today was keep learning. Ask, read, learn, challenge, so that you can enjoy lifelong learning, and surround yourself with the best people so you can learn from them and help them to learn what knowledge you have to impart. Another one I got from Julia Streets actually was manage your reputation. Your reputation can be described as what people say about you in your absence, and it can be key to opening doors. And you must always, always, always work to hone and manage it. And the last thing that I'm going to suggest is always be networking and be intentional about it to help others build their networks as well. Be authentic, be honest, and remember that networking is a two-way street. I'd like to close by thanking my incredible team, as these events would not be possible without them giving so freely of their talents. It takes a lot of time and effort to put together an event like this, and I hope you agree that it was all worthwhile. Sarah Lopes was our absolute superstar, working behind the scenes to get all of the speakers online on time, and she just did a fabulous job, supported by other team members, Vivian Hall Cho, Caitlin Melvin, Pooja Bowen, and Rebecca Gledhill. So thank you to all of our team for doing everything that they do. I hope you'll also agree that the speakers at our events are consistently exceptional. And that's feedback that we get time and time again. I'd like to thank them all for taking the time to share their expertise. A special thanks also to Julia Streets, Lisa Robbins, Christine Siriani, and Swapnendu Mohanty for sharing their time and to inspire us with their thoughts this week. Thank you again to our sponsors, our gold sponsor, Standard Chartered, global silver sponsor, JP Morgan, our global bronze sponsors, ACI Worldwide, Ingenico, PayPal, and Visa, and of course, UOB. Today would not be possible without the support of these incredible sponsors who value gender diversity, inclusion, and see the potential of women in leadership. And on that note, I also invite everybody to fill in the feedback forms. We will be sending out an email in the next couple of days, inviting feedback from everybody. So please share any insights you have, any feedback on how we can make it better for next year, because we definitely want to do that. I hope everybody has found value in joining us this year. And I want you to remember that you are the women and the future of payments. You have the opportunity, and I'd also say the responsibility, to shape financial products and to shape this industry for the benefit of all women in ASEAN and beyond. You have the knowledge, you have the power, and I encourage you to use it. With that, I invite you all to go out into the world, to connect in a meaningful way with others, to do things to inspire, be resilient, and be each other's champions. And remember that you are the talent that the world of payments is looking for. Thanks for joining us.